Jungkook cries uncontrollably in Taehyung's arms at the airport. The reason behind this scene leaves ARMY speechless. No one was prepared for what happened at Incheon International Airport yesterday. The terminal, typically flooded with excited fans and tight security, turned into a moment of pure heartbreak when BTS's Jungkook was seen weeping uncontrollably in Kim Taehyung's arms. The raw, unfiltered display of emotion wasn't part of any performance. It wasn't a scene from a music video. It was real, and it left thousands of witnesses in stunned silence. But what exactly triggered such a collapse in Jungkook, who is known for maintaining his composure under pressure? Why did Taehyung, who had remained reserved in recent public appearances, suddenly choose to speak up? The truth may be more personal and more painful than anyone expected. Eyewitnesses captured the moment as Jungkook collapsed into Taehyung's embrace, his shoulders trembling violently, tears streaming down his face. This wasn't just an emotional farewell or a reaction to a stressful schedule. According to sources close to the group, something far deeper had been weighing on Jungkook for weeks, something he had been trying to suppress, until it finally overwhelmed him. The emotional breakdown happened just minutes after a private conversation between the two members, one that seemed to visibly shake both of them. And now, following that incident, Taehyung has broken his silence, in a short yet heavy statement to a handful of reporters who waited just beyond the departure gate. Taehyung's words were concise, but left the media reeling. "There's only so much a person can take," he said, his voice subdued but unmistakably resolute. "Jungkook has carried things alone for too long. It's time everyone knew." He offered no further details, but his statement confirmed what many fans had feared. The incident at the airport was not an isolated emotional outburst. It was the result of long-term internal conflict, the weight of suppressed emotion, the burden of silence. While the exact cause of Jungkook's breakdown hasn't been officially disclosed, mounting evidence points to internal pressures that have been intensifying over the past year. Recent shifts in BTS's group dynamics, solo promotions, and a noticeable lack of cohesion in their schedules have sparked speculation among ARMY worldwide. But those speculations took a dark turn after the airport incident. Social media exploded with questions. Has Jungkook been hiding emotional turmoil behind his professional facade? Why did it take Taehyung's intervention for him to finally break? One key detail cannot be ignored. Prior to the emotional moment, Jungkook and Taehyung had been spotted arriving separately at the airport, avoiding cameras and maintaining complete silence toward the press. But something changed dramatically once they reunited at the terminal. A brief, whispered exchange between them, barely captured on fan cams, seemed to trigger everything. Jungkook's legs buckled. Taehyung caught him, and the youngest BTS member sobbed like never before. For longtime followers of the group, this was not just shocking, it was unthinkable. Jungkook has always been the pillar of quiet strength, the golden magne who remained composed even during the most intense global tours and controversies. His collapse in public, with Taehyung holding him tightly, shattered that image. And it raised deeper, more alarming questions about what has been going on behind closed doors. Insiders suggest the root cause lies not in a single incident, but in years of accumulated tension. It is no secret that the members of BTS have experienced immense pressure, not just from their management or the industry, but from the impossible expectations of maintaining unity while pursuing individual growth. For Jungkook, who has often taken on a central role in performances and branding, the pressure may have reached an unsustainable level. But why now? Why in Taehyung's arms? Why at the airport? The emotional symbolism of the moment is undeniable. Airports for BTS are places of departure, literally and metaphorically. Fans have seen them off countless times, but this time, something was different. Jungkook's tears weren't the tears of goodbye. They were the tears of someone who has reached his limit. And Taehyung's presence, his steady embrace, was more than support. It was solidarity. What Taehyung whispered to Jungkook before the breakdown remains unknown, but it is clear that it was a breaking point. Some sources claim it was an affirmation, a quiet validation of Jungkook's feelings after months of silence. Others believe Taehyung revealed a personal truth of his own, one that resonated so deeply with Jungkook that he could no longer hold back. Whatever it was, it marked the beginning of a very public unraveling of what has long been kept private. Speculation continues to grow. Fans are dissecting every recent appearance, every live stream, every interview for clues. Was Jungkook dropping hints about his emotional state? Was Taehyung trying to protect him all along? And most importantly, what comes next? What's particularly alarming is the timing. The incident occurred just days after several BTS-related projects were postponed without clear explanation. Rumors swirled that the members had disagreed on direction, with some pushing for more autonomy in their careers, while others felt loyalty to existing structures. Jungkook, caught in the center, may have felt trapped, unable to choose without betraying someone. If that pressure finally erupted in public, it could signify more than a personal crisis. It could signal a wider fracture within BTS itself. But even amidst the questions, one fact is clear. Taehyung chose to break protocol. He spoke. He comforted Jungkook not as an idol, not as a performer, but as a human being. In doing so, he may have opened the door for further revelations. Will other members speak out? Will fans ever learn the full truth behind that moment? The silence from official channels is deafening.
No statements, no clarifications, no distractions.
The raw footage of Jungkook crying in Taehyung's arms has already gone viral, but the narrative remains incomplete. And perhaps that's the most unsettling part of it all, the unanswered questions. The emotional weight of what remains unsaid. Could this be the beginning of a reckoning? Has the emotional facade finally cracked open, revealing the cost of perfection? How long has Jungkook been struggling in silence? And what role did Taehyung play in finally bringing the truth to light? One thing is certain, the world is no longer watching BTS merely for their music or their performances. Now, the focus has shifted to their humanity. And in that airport terminal, amidst the chaos of cameras and flashing lights, two young men reminded everyone that beneath the spotlight, there is pain, there is pressure, and there is a breaking point. What truly happened at Incheon International Airport on that chaotic morning? Was Jungkook's emotional collapse in Taehyung's arms a spontaneous outpouring of repressed emotion, or a carefully orchestrated spectacle designed to manipulate public sentiment? These are not easy questions, but they are necessary ones. In an age where visual content can be staged, edited, and weaponized for virality, we are all responsible for interrogating what we see, what we share, and most importantly, what we choose to believe. Let us take a moment to reflect. If the footage of Jungkook's breakdown was so emotionally powerful, so universally gripping, why was it captured with such precision and from so many angles? Why were fan cams and social media clips circulating within minutes, edited with music, subtitles, and speculative captions before any official word had been released? Could this level of coordination suggest something beyond coincidence? Is it possible that the very real-looking display of vulnerability was calculated, either by external parties or internal actors, for purposes we may never fully understand? Or, on the other hand, are we so desensitized to authentic emotion that we now question even the most human reactions? Are we witnessing the collapse of personal boundaries under the weight of parasocial scrutiny, where even genuine pain becomes suspect simply because it was seen? What does this say about the ecosystem of media consumption in which we all participate? These questions are not designed to provide answers, but rather to challenge assumptions. As this story circulates across TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, and secondary media platforms, one thing becomes increasingly clear. The distinction between truth and narrative has never been blurrier. Some fans argue that Jungkook's tears were real, his pain unfiltered. Others counter that the scene was too perfect, too well-timed, too aligned with the group's recent promotional gaps and internal tensions. So, which is it? Let us consider the possibility that both can be true. Jungkook may have been in genuine distress. Taehyung may have offered sincere comfort. And yet, those around them, be it handlers, marketers, or platform algorithms, might have seen the opportunity to maximize engagement. This duality is uncomfortable, but not implausible. In an industry where image is currency, even raw emotion can be curated. This leads to a deeper concern. What happens to our collective perception when everything is potentially a performance? How do we, as consumers of content, draw the line between empathy and manipulation? When fans cry watching Jungkook cry, are they sharing in his pain? Or are they being drawn into an emotional trap that serves an unseen agenda? These are questions worth asking, not just about BTS, but about the entire culture of celebrity and media we inhabit. IT is also important to acknowledge that the sources of this incident remain unverified. The footage may have originated from eyewitnesses, but its trajectory, from mobile phones to edited TikTok montages and monetized YouTube videos, has complicated the narrative. Each repost adds a layer of interpretation. Each comment warps the original context. What began as a moment between two people has now become a global debate. And so, we ask you, the audience, what do you believe? Not what you want to believe, but what you can verify. What evidence do you have that this moment was unscripted? What indicators suggest it was genuine? More provocatively, what might be the motivations behind staging such an emotional breakdown? Is it to generate sympathy ahead of a major announcement? Is it to shift attention away from internal controversies? Alternatively, is this scrutiny itself a form of cruelty, an unwillingness to accept that idols, too, are fragile, that even global superstars may crack under pressure? There is no doubt that Jungkook's emotional display struck a chord. Millions of fans posted messages of support. Taehyung was hailed as a protector, a brother, a friend. But we must pause. We must ask, are we consuming these narratives responsibly? Or are we blindly participating in a cycle of sensationalism? This is not to dismiss the event as fake. Far from it. It is to insist that we maintain a posture of healthy skepticism in a media landscape designed to overwhelm and distract. Emotional manipulation can be subtle. It often comes wrapped in authenticity. That is why it works. Even now, discussions rage across platforms. Some ARMY believe this was the beginning of a larger revelation, possibly the unraveling of a tightly controlled system. Others argue it is a strategic move to evoke mass emotional investment before a comeback or a contract shift. The truth is likely more complex than either theory. And yet, we must not allow ourselves to accept convenient conclusions. This is why your role as a viewer, as a fan, as a digital citizen is so vital. Do not simply absorb. Question, reflect, analyze. Ask, who benefits from this footage going viral? What emotions are being targeted? And to what end? Are we being led into an emotional response or arriving there through evidence and understanding? The power of fandom is not just in numbers or sales. It is in critical thinking, in demanding transparency, accountability, and integrity, not just from artists, but from the systems that surround them. Let us end this with an uncomfortable truth. Even if Jungkook's breakdown was 100% real, the way it has been processed, packaged, and proliferated may no longer be his own. The moment is now ours. And with that comes responsibility. So we leave you with this. Are you watching reality unfold, or are you watching a performance about reality? The difference matters. And until we are willing to ask those questions, even about the people we love most, we will remain trapped in the surface, never daring to dive deeper.